Hello YouTube and welcome back to MagiaErebea-Gaming. I'm Mike and today I'm bringing kind of a news video. It's a little bit different than what I normally would do. I've got some gameplay of just me skilling on my pure there in the background. So this video I want to talk about yesterday. Jagex released their Summer Summit where they threw up all these confirmed upcoming updates for this summer, and then a ton, and when I say a ton, of possible updates for the year 2017. And they threw up a survey where people could vote and, kind of determine which updates will make it into 2017 based on what people want. So what I'm going to be doing, I'm probably going to start off telling and talking about the confirmed stuff, and then we'll move on to the stuff that you can vote on in the survey. I will have a link to the survey in the description, as well as a link to Runescape's Twitch page where they have the entire Summer Summit posted in past archives, and it's fairly long. It's about 5 hours long, so if you're interested in that, it'll be there. So let's start off with what's upcoming. So one thing that I'm very excited about is the mining and smithing rework. They have confirmed that it's coming. It's supposed to release sometime in September. I know not really summer anymore, but yeah, they're going to rebalance it to where mining and smithing are more accurately reflected in the levels. It's kind of spread out further. There's more things to smith and mine, new ores, new metals, to kind of fill in those level gaps. Another thing that they talked about, and it's more in the possibilities section, but adding in a skill mastery system where you specialize in something. And let's just stay with the smithing theme, but they said it could apply to all skills where you say you choose to specialize. They use the example of two-handed swords, and essentially you become a master at making two-handed swords, and pretty much only two-handed swords. You can make everything else, but you're masterful. You can mastercraft two-handed swords. And say what that can do is you get a new model to your swords. Your two-handed swords look cooler and are more effective. They maybe have a strength bonus or something on them to that effect. And they said they want to tie that into another possible update they talked about, which was player-owned shops, which I'll talk a little bit more about later, but basically saying only certain people who have became masters at making two-handed swords can sell those particular two-handed swords. Really cool. I'm thinking that's going to be something pretty dang cool. Okay, something else they confirmed was Fate of the Gods 2. A final rematch between Zaros and Zamorak. I think that would be awesome. I'm a big quester. I love the lore, and these 6 Age God quests in particular, they're getting pretty beefy, and I like them a lot. So I'm excited about that. They talked about a new solo boss coming to God Wars Dungeon 2, Telos, who is a avatar, I'm going to call him, of the Anima Mundi. Basically another Virago. And he is there to defend the heart from all the commanders of the gods who are trying to get their grubby little hands on it. So he's basically going to be the next, from God Wars 1 of God Wars 2. So look forward to that. They talked about the Ark and expanding into, other territories like that. which I'm excited for the arc. I used to have a Rune Labs post about maybe some kind of like a martial arts type skill, since it's all like Eastern Landsy. I actually had a mod comment on it and said he liked the idea. But anyway, they're talking about the beach. The beach is coming back this summer. You'll get to fight Claudia again, as well as them adding new events. Like they're going to have a terror bird race, which I think could be pretty hilarious. Yeah, the beach. I didn't really like it last year. I'm hoping it'll be better this year. Along with the arc, they're going to be reworking Port Sarim with a graphical rework. They showed it off a couple weeks back in a dev Q&A, and it looked pretty sweet. I'm excited for that. They showed off a teaser for the god weapons. They showed a Saren bow, which looked pretty dang sweet, and I'm excited to see what other god weapons they have to show off later on. They're reworking the Bounty Hunter minigame, PvP, whatever you want to call it, to have two different modes, a safe arena mode and then a dangerous PvP wilderness mode. It sounded okay. I'm not big into PvP, but, you know, hopefully they get it right, because PvP in RS3 is something that is kind of a joke, really. They showed off the Gowers quest, which is turning out to look pretty hilarious. It's very goofy, very silly. Yeah, it'll be something fun. And then I believe the last thing they talked about for the upcoming stuff of the summer is a new minigame. They really weren't too clear as to what it was, called Shattered Worlds, where you're essentially hopping through dimensions and racing other players just to see who can finish it the fastest. I really wasn't sold on it, and they came across kind of sounding like they didn't really know what they were talking about. And then the last and final thing that is confirmed to be coming at the end of the summer, or end of the year, is the Saliske's endgame, the end of that quest line, and the battle for the Stone of Jas. So they made it sound pretty exciting. They said every person's ending will be different based on choices you made throughout all of the quests, and they actually made it sound like it's going to be replayable, where you can get different endings to see, just so you can see the other choices. Okay, so now we're going to talk about quests, possible quests for the year 2017. They weren't confirmed. In the survey, you can vote for them, but I'm just going to run through them real quick. They talked about a godless quest, where you join the ranks of the godless, which I am. I'm a godless. I'm excited about this quest. I am signed up with that faction, but basically you join the godless and you help build them up as a faction, because the godless really haven't been the center of that much attention. They kind of formed, and then they've been in the background ever since. They showed up in 2 of the world events, I think, and that was it. So building up the godless faction, that's you can vote for it. Desert quests, kind of expanding that lore for the desert and filling it out a little bit. They talked about a Krondis quest, that's the crocodile god, I believe. Showed off an Elder God quest, kind of exploring more of the Elder Gods besides Maw. We saw Maw, and that's really the only Elder God we've ever seen, but they want to expand on that a little bit. Death of Chivalry 2. Wow, the name of the knight in there just kind of... Sir Owen? Kind of more expanding on that and kind of getting the other signature heroes involved. Except Lenza, rip. Spoiler there if you haven't done Kindred Spirits. They talked about a gnome quest, finishing up that storyline. Dimension of Disaster 2. I know a lot of people really enjoyed the first one in Vorok, but this one is going to take place in Falador. What happened to Falador whenever the World Guardian did not exist? Which could be interesting. Black Knights rule, or sea slugs, or whatever like that they talked about. Continuing the Penguin storyline is something else they talked about. Elemental Workshop 5, please no. I will give Jagex $1 million never to make another Elemental Workshop quest. It's my least favorite series. I hate them. I hate them. I hate them. Okay. Pirate Quest, finishing up that storyline. Which, you know, I kind of like the Pirate Quest. They're a little bit silly. You know, gives a little bit of a break. And then Rites of Passage, which is the Aviancy quest that they talked about a good while ago, where you travel to the homeworld of Armadil and kind of help younger Aviancies do their, their rite of passage, their journey to adulthood. And it looks really cool, the concept art. I'm going to throw a clip up there. You can see all the kind of sky citadels and stuff like that. Supposedly we're going to be able to fly. I don't know how that's going to work, but it'll be cool. Alright, we'll do, let's see, skill reworks. This is something I'm really excited about because a lot of skills and other systems in the game do need to be redone. They are kind of old and outdated and boring, honestly. So they talked about a construction rework where you could, and they actually, I think they've already started working on it. I'm going to throw a clip in here where they're showing one of the new interfaces for the construction rework, or player-owned house rework rather, where any hotspot in a room, you can pretty much move it wherever you want, which is awesome. It makes it feel more like your house. And like, rooms are no longer set to have a certain amount of doors. Like, say a chapel or a teleport room only had one door. So you kind of had to pick and choose where you wanted to place certain rooms. Well, that isn't going to be a problem anymore because you can put the doors wherever you want. And you can move whatever, any of the hotspots around anywhere you want. Also for the construction rework, they talked about building more stuff in the main world, like maybe building houses for NPCs or hotspots, skilling hotspots for, say you throw up a big mining drill and you get construction XP for building it, or maybe it's a group effort where everybody who contributes gets constructing XP for building it, and then once you build, say, that mining drill or something like that, it becomes a mining spot and people can mine on it. And they talked about things like that. Seems pretty cool. They talked about an agility rework, which, please God, and how agility is boring and all you do is run around in a circle, and they need a better way to train it and more rewards for it. Because really, honestly, let's be honest, the really only thing agility is good for is you can run for longer amounts of time. And that's it. And they've been talking about taking the running system out where you don't have run energy, so that would basically make agility completely pointless. I mean, you do have shortcuts, which kind of useful, but not really, because there's so many teleports and lodestones and whatnot that really the shortcuts are moot. There's no reason. Agility is pretty much right now pointless skill almost. Talked about the mining and smithing rework, which is already coming. And I need to mention these aren't guaranteed to come. They are stuff that need to be voted on in the survey. Clan reworks. New citadels, new plots for the citadels, like maybe a fishing one, which would make sense because you can cook fish in the citadel, but you can't catch them there. So more skill plots, Like a farming one would be good, a fishing one would be good, stuff like that. And also, when they rework the clans, they're doing a whole permissions, everything reworked. So clan rework from top to bottom, which could be cool. The clans are already pretty cool right now, but some of their like internal stuff, like how permissions work and build ticks and stuff, I think can be redone with a better system. And they talked about a bank rework, some things that they would change in that, which would be alright. I kind of like the bank right now, but if they make it better, they make it better. That's cool. Chat system rework. After RuneScape 3 came out and they reworked the chat interface and everything like that, I really don't like it that much anymore. Some of the things are a little bit confusing, a little hard to find, and I think a chat rework would be pretty good if they made it easier, because right now, it's not that bad right now, but it's still a little hard to find certain things, and it could be better. Player model reworks. Not really needed, but I wouldn't mind it. It would be cool to see how good like a character detail they could make. They talked about things like being able to change your eye color, being able to I don't know, but they talked about new chat head animations, and just better character models, which I wouldn't mind, but doesn't really matter that much. Okay, for the big chunk of this, possibilities for 27 things you can vote on, and they might get in there, they might not. I'm gonna run through them real quick because it is a bunch. It's probably about 30 or 40 things here. Big one, people have been asking for it for a while, mounts. They talked about that, maybe kind of increasing movement speed while on mounts and maybe being able to fight off of mounts. They really didn't speculate too much. It's something that they've said in the past that they've tried to do and couldn't get to work, but maybe with NXT and the new systems they're running with, they may be able to get it to work. They talked about a pet battler where you could level up your pets and fight them against other people's pets. Kind of stealing from World of Warcraft there, who stole it from Pokemon, So, there's that. Player-owned shops. This kind of tied in with the mining and smithing rework and the skill mastery, where you can master in, say, two hands, like I talked about. They said selling items you craft, player to player, kind of like a more personal experience than the GE. And then they said that's not all. Maybe selling stuff to NPCs. Maybe if you were selling a bunch of runes, Aubrey would come. Or if you were selling, whatever, different NPCs would come and offer you stuff for your stuff. They talked about an achievement system, a whole rework of it, because there's already achievements, there's achievement diaries, there's tasks, there's whatever, but kind of consolidating everything into one place, maybe add a bunch of new ones, and kind of like an Xbox achievement system where you get a certain amount of points for doing certain achievements. And they talked about a lot of small stuff, like get one of every sword in the game, or get one of every battle axe, or craft one of every mace, or whatever. A prestige system where after you max out a skill, you can reset it to level 1 with prestige 1. And they talked about that before. It got a lot of discord, a lot of people liked it, a lot of people didn't like it, and whatever. And they kind of dropped it, but they're talking about bringing it back. This one is a big one for me. Dynamic weather. I have been wanting weather systems in RuneScape forever, and now with NXT it's finally possible. They want to do it. I want it. Please, everyone, get dynamic weather in 2017. It would be so good. If you've seen the rework of the Void Knight Outpost for Pest Control Island, it's raining, it's dark, it's gloomy, it looks amazing. I want dynamic weather. Make it happen. Raids 2, they're talked about a Raids expansion. I'm going to throw a screenshot, or a clip rather, of like a multi-headed Hydra boss that they are kind of designing right now for a possible Raids 2 expansion. I didn't really like, well, I've never had the opportunity to do a raid, so I don't know how I like them. But yeah, they talked about a Hunger Games PvP minigame where you're kind of thrown into a randomly generated arena, big arena, with skilling plots and stuff everywhere with a bunch of people. You have nothing, and if you want to mine, you got to find a pickaxe. You can mine, and then you can smith your armor or a weapon. Get a knife, fletch a bow and some arrows. Make your own. You have to start from scratch and make your own stuff, and then fight. And last one standing wins. That seems like it would just work for RuneScape. It would work. I would love it. I would play it. That would probably be a PvP minigame that I would play. They talked about wandering world bosses, like these colossal monsters that just wander the world. Maybe spawn in lumberjanes they talked about. And then maybe having a certain thing you need to do to kill it. And then everyone can just pile on this boss and kill it. Seems cool. Talked about different ways they can make the wilderness better, which is something I think they need to do. The wilderness is kind of like this barren wasteland with nothing to do in it. Like normally, like in old school, you used to have to go to the wilderness to get rune, and like runite ore, and it made it dangerous because you had to go get runite ore, and everyone knew you were going to get runite ore, so they would kind of pile you, and you had to bring a team to protect you. And yeah, no one goes to the wild now. There's like almost no reason to go, except if you want to fight people. So it's pretty much just people who want to fight people going to the wild. There's really no reason for a skiller or someone else to go out there. So just ways to make it better. They talked about making Slayer a level 120 skill, which I think they need to do because they're cramming all this high-end level Slayer content between like 7 levels. And it's kind of just packing stuff in there, and they're just cramming stuff into Slayer. And with all the new Slayer stuff that people want put in the game and people want added in, it would make sense to make that a 120 skill. And not just like, okay, it's 120 now, level up more. No, that would make room for all these new monsters, all new mechanics, new unlocks, all the way up to 120. I think it's a good idea. They're talking about a new solo boss, a new Slayer dungeon. See, another Slayer dungeon. We need 120 Slayer. Dungeoneering 2, like maybe another new dungeon. Just somewhere. Skilling pets. I like this idea. You have boss pets that you grind and you grind and you grind for killing the boss, and then you get a pet that looks like the boss. Skiller pets. So you've been put hours and hours and hours into woodcutting. Why not have a rare drop chance to get a like tree in it for woodcutting so often, or like a golem for mining or something, you know? Player-owned farm. I'm not real sure I want this in the game. I don't like farming. I don't like that skill. But they talked about like having a greenhouse and having a livestock like cattle and stuff. You raise pigs and chickens and stuff like that, and maybe factoring in some other stuff. But they didn't really talk too much on it. But I'm kind of iffy on it. Overhauling clue scrolls, all new rewards, stuff like that. Expanding on ports some more. People really like ports. I liked it at first, but I got tired of doing it once I got most of my armors and stuff. Trying to get back into it to get those like new ports weapons like the Tetsu Katana and stuff, but skill mastery, which I talked about. Construction on the overworld hotspots. Some new areas they talked about. Menaphos. They want Menaphos to come in 2017, which make it happen. It's been an empty space on the map for years. They talked about an underwater city. They talked about the Eastern Lands, the Ark, the Skull, 2 separate regions for the Eastern Lands, which I'm all about that. Last thing I'm going to talk about, they talked about, is this unexplored continent. And what they said was like it's an area that no one's ever been to before. They release it and say we start going there, and maybe for like the first month or two there's only a small portion of things we can do, small area we can go to and kind of explore and flesh it out, and throughout the year they'll expand upon it and add new stuff, kind of like we're settling down there. We go, there's nothing there, no towns, no anything. We start expanding out into it. As the months go by, we build towns and we add towns to them. We add mining spots and smithing forges and just settle this new land over the course of an entire year, and it just gets bigger and bigger. Sounds really cool. That's something that I'm kind of excited about. I want them to put that in there. It's going to make it feel like a new game almost, something new to discover and stuff like that. That's pretty much the majority of the stuff they covered for the RuneScape 3 portion. Like I said, I will link the entire Summer Summit down there. They talked about old school RuneScape on there, which I didn't cover. They talked about Chronicle, which is, that's their card game that is really fun. I really like that a lot. They talked about their Idle Adventure games, their new mobile game that's coming out, which it looks pretty cool. I'm excited about it. Wish I would have gotten to the closed beta, but I didn't. And then they talked about, they just had another section about the stuff coming this summer. It's about 5 hours long. I'll link it in the description below if you want to check it out. Now I also have a recording of the survey, also link in the description. And I'm just going to run through it real quick and show you guys what all is there and the kind of questions they ask and everything like that. Alright, so here we have a just rundown of the survey. I just did a real quick run through so you guys can see what kind of questions they ask, how much RuneScape you play, how old you are, which version of RuneScape do you play the most, what do you like about each version. And then on a scale to 1 to 10, the skilling updates they're proposing, which ones you like the most, or if you don't like them, give them a lower score, farming, house, here, skilling wise, Dungeoneering 2, skilling pets, hotspots, screw clothes overhaul, skill specializations, what you like, if you don't like it, bosses. How difficult do you like your bosses? Why do you fight bosses? Should they make special attacks more powerful? I said I don't have an opinion. I should have said yes, because I didn't realize it was talking about special attacks and not abilities. What group size do you like to boss in? What, should skilling and bossing be balanced? Should just all these kind of questions like this. And then, would you rather them improve PvP? Would you rather PvM? What would you... Just a bunch of questions like that, really. But yeah, that's pretty much the survey. Not much to it. I don't quite remember how long it is. It takes about 20 or so minutes to do. And, what combat updates do you want? Do you want a second raid? Do you want Slayer skill to go to 120? Such like that. But, yeah, that's pretty much all I have here. You can continue to watch this if you want. It's just a real quick run through of the survey. If you want to take the survey, I will have it linked down in the description for you. So you can go ahead and make sure you do it, because it's important. This survey lets them know which pieces of content we want for the year 2017. And I don't know if you remember last year they had a survey similar to this last year that they sent out to emails to members, but pretty much a lot of the stuff in that survey became real. Fate of the Gods came from that survey. God Wars Dungeon 2 came from that survey. The Ark, the Eastern Lands, came from that survey. A lot of stuff like that. Right here. Elemental Workshop 5. 0. Do not make it, Jagex, please. But yeah, that's the quest content. Which quests you would rather see. Stuff like that. But, yeah, a lot of important stuff come with this survey. And this is pretty much what they're using to replace Rune Labs. If you don't know, Rune Labs is disappearing. They are getting rid of that, which is a shame. I liked Rune Labs. I used it a lot. Yeah, but I'm just pretty much rambling right now just to give something in this section of the survey. So, fill out your surveys, guys. It's important. Which I don't think there's too much left to this survey. I think it's almost through. See, there's mounts, achievements, player-owned shops, prestige, weather, please, Jagex, weather, we want weather. Anybody watching this video, take the survey and vote for weather. We need weather. Talking about how often you like your updates. Do you like big updates, a lot of small updates, updates in 1 or 2 batches, reworks, agility rework, please, bank rework, model rework, clan rework, all that good stuff. I also want to thank anybody, if you watched this video, if you made it this far, I really appreciate it. I'm just a small channel. I work a lot, and I just make videos when I feel like it for fun. But anybody who watches or gives a like or comments, even if it's a critical comment, that means you watched my video, and I appreciate that so much. It just, when you make a piece of content, or you make, mostly I do like update videos and junk like that, but every now and then I do a bit of gameplay, and it just makes you feel good when somebody watches your video. I don't know. So thank you, anybody who watched this, especially to the end. I know this is a long video, and it takes a lot to watch something this long, but it was a lot of information to cover. They covered so much in that update. Not really update, that's the Summer Summit yesterday. So thanks so much to anyone who tuned into this, and I will catch you guys later. Hit me up on Twitter or subscribe if you want more. Thanks.